Hi, I'm Patricia Greenberg, and this is It's Okay to Be Old, a show where we discuss all things aging well. So, my guest today is Mariann Aalda, and she's an actress, a comic, a hypnotherapist, an activist, and best known as one of the first African American daytime soap opera heroines, playing Dee Dee Bannister Stoner on ABC's The Edge of Night. It's going back a little. She went on to appear in the TV shows Guiding Light, Royal Family, First and 10, Designing Women, and Sunset Beach. Mariann Aalda has also appeared in movies co-starring in Class Act, Nobody's Perfect, Beaches, Pretty Women, and The Wiz. Welcome, Mariann.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, great.
You
So
too, Patricia.
happy to have you here today. This is great.
Oh, and I'm happy to be here because, first of all, the title of your podcast, It's Okay to Be Old. And that is, I believe that 1,000%. It's not only is it okay, but it's really pretty terrific being old.
I love that you're saying that because a lot of times the response is, don't call me old. I'm not old. And it's funny because I hear a lot, the older we get, the further away old seems, right?
Yeah. Well, I started claiming old just the way heavyset people claimed fat. They
Yeah.
said, I'm fat and I'm proud of it. There's no body shaming, where there shouldn't be age shaming either. It's like my handle on Instagram is Mariann Aalda, aging shamelessly. And I'm kind of on a mission to change the whole mindset about getting older, because women lying about their age and feeling bad about why? It's like, I'm 77. I'm going to say it loud. I'm 77 and I'm proud. I mean, you know, I I think it's cultural, but it's also we've internalized it. It's personal. So everybody travels their own journey to getting older, and it's a journey you want to travel
Mhm.
because you consider the alternative. When the road runs out, the road runs out.
That's the age-old question, what is the alternative and are you better off? I found you initially doing a fun segment on WGN in Chicago, and what caught me was your comic take on being an age disruptor. And you're optimistically fostering what you call age pride. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think it's actually so significant that women your age, some are fighting back and some aren't. And so, like my question to you is, how do we empower women of all ages to stand up and stand out, like you say?
Well, it begins with the individual, and then because culturally, if we wait for the culture to catch up, we're going to be waiting forever. And so you're going to be miserable until the culture changes? No. You've got to change within and then fight the power. That's it. And I think probably the fact that I'm African American, that I have always been a little black girl, um, there was always something I had to fight against or fight for to be overlooked. When women talk about being invisible after 50, well, growing up in Chicago in the 50s, as a little colored girl, which is what we were called then, invisibility was my destiny. Nobody was looking for me, or there were certain expectations of, like with my parents, it was like become a nurse, become a school teacher, which is fine.
Absolutely.
Those are great professions, but you can't fit a square peg into a round hole. And I was a square peg. So I have to admit, it took me discovering Carl Jung when I was in college to come out as an actor, to admit to myself that this is something I loved to do. Because at first I tried to cure myself. I thought, oh my God, am I a narcissist? Am I an exhibitionist? What's wrong with me? Then I discovered Carl Jung and I realized that, and I looked at my parents who are very active and upbeat and positive. I thought, well, I'm genetically predisposed to be an actor. And I looked at them, they didn't have the opportunities but I do. So I fulfilled my dreams for myself, and I think I fulfilled some of my dreams for my parents. And also, my parents were great mo role models, about getting older. My parents lived into their 90s,
Oh,
and
wow.
they were healthy and active, were ill for a very short period of time, and then they died. It was like, I'm healthy, I'm good, I'm out, I'm gone. And it was funny when I was living in LA, I would get, the weekly calls from my mother. She would say, "Oh, guess who died?" It's like death is something that happened to other people.
Right.
And so going to funerals was kind of like a social thing for them. Go and they'd meet their friends and have coffee and a couple of drinks. Um, and then eventually it was their turn, and my sister and I made sure that when they went, it was a party. And I hope they appreciated it wherever they went.
That is I feel that is a beautiful take on death and end of life, that it is a celebration and that it doesn't ruin your life to lose other people. It's part of the life cycle. And this is, Mariann, you know all too well, this is what I'm trying to counter. I don't want to say fight or it's a battle or, make it sound like what I'm trying to counter is some of the attitude of that people are so terrified of dying, so terrified of end of life, so terrified of even being over 50 or over 60, whatever number that they put on it, that those years in between become wrought with fear and inability to live your life to the fullest because you're always spending time worrying about where you're going to end up.
Yeah, well,
And
you
that's
know,
why I love your acronym. I'm going to go into this because I love this SNAP. This is when I saw your segment.
yeah.
I'm going to mention this now and again at the end. On September 14th, it's coming up very soon. We're doing a summit in Chicago called It's Okay to Be Old, based on my work, and Mariann is one of our key speakers. So we'll put that information up on the screen as well when the show is. But tell me about SNAP.
Well, it's an acronym for, well, I'll give you the top four
Okay,
SNAP. Self-love and self-care. I guess I'm giving you more than four. I'm giving you
that's
eight.
okay. That's okay. Mhm.
Self-care. NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming for the N, which is your self-talk and the words that you put out there into the ozone, because whatever you say, your subconscious mind hears. So when you say, "Oh, I'm tired, I'm feeling bad," your subconscious mind takes it seriously. Now you just might mean it as a joke, but if you say, "Oh, I'm tired," your subconscious mind is going to say, "Oh, you're tired? Okay, I'm going to give you some more of that." And another N is no. The thing that is great about getting older is that I can say no and not feel bad about it. When I was younger, I felt obligated to fulfill other people's wishes for what they wanted me to do. And as I've gotten older, as the time is becoming more precious, as I get nearer to the exit, I don't want to waste any time. So that's the N. A, awareness. Sometimes we just sleepwalk through life. We have to pay attention. When you start paying attention and become aware of some of the habits that you've had that you just kind of fallen into, you know, like having a snack at 9 o'clock before you go to bed, you know, and you wonder why you don't sleep well at night, and you wake up in the middle of the night, and you wonder why you keep, putting on pounds. If you become aware of the habits, take stock of what you're doing, then you can change. You have to be aware before you can make change. And then another A is acceptance. There are things, it's like you're going to get wrinkles, you're going to get gray, things are going to happen. I think if we accept age as a process, not as I'm young, I'm old, that we're on this spectrum, this continuity, and that it's just part of the life cycle, it's acceptance of the fact that I was born, I have a life, and then I have an afterlife. I don't know what comes after that. Nobody's come back to tell me. But so there's that. And the thing about too is that acceptance goes hand in hand with awareness. Because when you become aware and you're really paying attention, then you stop fighting the things that, you stop trying to hold on to youth. It was great when I was there, but being old, I think I prepared myself for getting old when I was young
Mhm.
because I practiced those things of self-love and self-care. Not to the point that I do now. I mean, I had to grow into it. I had to learn. And okay, let's get to the P's. Passion, purpose, and pride. When you get older, it helps to have something that you love to do. People talk about retiring. I think, why? I'm an actor. I don't ever plan to retire. When they want 80-year-old ladies, when I'm 80, I'll be playing the 80-year-old ladies and be happy to do that. Um, you have to have something that really excites you. You have to have something that really makes you feel good. And then you have to have a purpose. When you know that you're on your way out, you want to leave something behind that's a legacy for other people, some good works or friendships or something that you know that your being on this planet really mattered. I think that's important. And the last P is pride. Yes, we have to take pride in getting older. The thing about uh, different stories I've heard from women is there's either two sides. There's the women who are fighting against getting older, and there's the other group that says, "Oh, I'm just going to let myself go." Go where? I don't. I so like vanity is my friend. I will cop to it. Vanity is my friend. And and I say, if you consider your body to be your temple, they put flowers on altars.
Yeah.
I want to honor my body and I want to honor myself. And it's like, if because I have to look at myself in the mirror, and I want to see a happy face. I want to see a smiling face. I want to see a face that's alert and vibrant and alive. And that's the whole thing. You do it for you. You do it for you.
That's so beautiful to hear that because I know that. So when you were a young woman starting out,
Mhm.
you're this beautiful Black actress. Were you taken advantage of and exploited and stereotyped, or did you feel that you were taken seriously?
I will say this. When I look back at my career, um, a lot of times I was the appendage to a man. I was the wife, the girlfriend. I mean, my leading men include O.J. Simpson, Dennis Haysbert, Clifton Davis, Ernie Hudson, Sherman Hemsley, uh, Meshach Taylor. I was, the pretty girl,
Yep.
which is what hampered me when I got to be older, because what do you do with the pretty girl now that she's old? And my agent at the time suggested that I gain 50 pounds so that I could do more character work.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. He says, well, if you gain 50 pounds, no, diabetes and high blood pressure run in my family and high cholesterol. I'm going to kill myself for my career? No. But so I really didn't have much of an acting career. I had a great 30-year career and then nothing. And that's what led me to becoming a hypnotherapist, because I think actors have a natural curiosity about behavior and human motivation. And it's when I trained at the Hypnosis Motivation Institute. It's a year training program. You can learn to hypnotize somebody probably in a weekend, but it takes a while longer to learn how to use it therapeutically. And when I started seeing clients, most of my clients were women in their 40s and 50s, around my age at the time. And the school was in, or is in, Encino, California. So the clientele was drawn from Tarzana, Encino. These were basically well-to-do women who had professions, and they were starting to become empty nesters, and they were beginning to feel badly about themselves. There was a through line of midlife depression. And and I wondered, well, what's going on here? And I realized that we as a culture have been hypnotized into believing that women lose value and social and sexual currency as we get older. So
Yeah,
my
you're told that from day one.
right, right,
You
right.
better get married now because you're going to lose your looks and nobody will want you. And if you don't have kids now, you're not going to be able to have them. And oh, it just on and on and on. Yeah.
Right. So I realized that my job was to dehypnotize them from that trance that they're in. And funny thing, actors are highly suggestible. As I was giving them the positive suggestions, my subconscious mind took it in and I reclaimed my acting career. It's like, if I'm gonna talk the talk, I better walk the walk. And that's when I did my first solo show. I actually did it at the HMI auditorium. It was called Snap Out of It. You've only been hypnotized into believing you're over the hill. And that's when I started doing stand-up comedy and doing sketch shows and comedy shows and making a career for myself to serve my audience, which is women like me, women my age group. But what I discovered was that I had an even bigger audience of women, the generation right below me, who would look at me and say, well, that's how I want to be when I grow up. Because they too had been hypnotized. They were terrified, 30-year-old women, terrified of turning 35, you know, especially in Los Angeles.
Oh, sure.
It was just, it was amazing to me. And then, two, the men would come up to me and they had a better understanding of their wives and girlfriends because of what I was saying. Because if it's not happening to men, although men experience ageism as well, but not in the same way that women do, um, they kind of get it. They kind of got the depression. Well, there's also menopause. There's that, there's that too that comes at midlife. But yeah, it's the circle of life. I mean, we get old, and that's okay, as you say. It is okay to be old.
It's wonderful. Mariann, you did a TED talk on standing up to ageism. I want to know how that was received.
Oh, the audience loved it. I mean, there were the thing that I feel blessed to have is the gifts that I've been given as a storyteller, as an actor. It really is about connecting with people and sharing a story that they can connect with. That's my story, but it's universal and it applies to them. And for example, I had I did a show at the National Black Theater Festival, and I talked about having a hysterectomy. And I say, because I'm a cancer survivor, I had uterine cancer. And I said that, not having a womb did not make me less of a woman. I mean, I considered my hysterectomy to be an internal Brazilian. If you're going to landscape the runway, why not declutter the terminal? I'm still good for happy landings. Well, that festival is every 2 years. The next 2 years later, this woman came up to me after my show and she said, I heard what you said the last festival. She said she had been diagnosed with uterine cancer and she had postponed her surgery because she wanted to tell me that and, to let me know that she could face it with optimism and bravery. I went,
Wow.
when somebody tells you that, I mean, I was I was a puddle. And she said because she had been terrified and she said I just needed to get another hit from you. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. And the thing about it is that eventually though, we will all die and that'll be fine too. It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Now, Mariann, you have children.
Uh-oh, we're frozen.
I'm frozen. Okay.
Okay, you're okay.
You have children?
I do. I have a son who's 51. Um, he's an engineer. I don't care how old your kids get, you still get the eye roll. At least in my house.
I thought I'm just going through it now because mine's in her 20s. Okay.
Oh, the eye roll goes on forever because, he's an engineer. He's very corporate, very, straight. And he has this kind of, creative, you know, bohemian mom that it's funny because I will get the eye roll, but I know he loves it. It's like, yeah, that's my mom. Yeah, that's her. Yeah. It's like I think I do the things sometimes that may embarrass him, but they also he may be embarrassed, but he's also proud at the same time. If that makes any sense. He's kind of like, "Oh, that's my mom," but yeah, that's my mom. And I think by example, we teach our children how to age as well. The things that we are afraid of, we will put fear into our kids. And, you know, my kid, I think sometimes forgets how old I am, actually, but he doesn't think about it. But then when I had a couple of health scares, like when I had the cancer and stuff, it kind of a switch went off and he's like, "Oh, oh, oh, I guess I have to be responsible for her." Which he is. I'm divorced, I'm single, and he's very good at kind of keeping his distance. It's like when you have a toddler and they're just starting to walk, you kind of hover, but you don't hold it. You let them find their way. Well, he kind of does that with me. I mean, he knows my general practitioner, and my son has actually gone in with me. He's, get me on FaceTime, mom. And then I will watch my doctor, who is about 35, and my son kind of gang up on me. And they say, "Well, is she doing blah, blah?" And I don't know. Hello, I'm here, guys, you know, but it's also adorable, because I know my son loves me and my doctor loves me too. He has uh, geriatric practice. And so he's always happy to see me. He kind of puts me at the end of the day because if he has had a hard day, dealing with people with chronic illnesses and things like that. He knows he's going to get a laugh or two when I come into the office. So he schedules me at the end of the day.
Mariann, it must have been so frightening to be diagnosed with cancer, but then freeing and exhilarating to know that you got to the other side. Like, how is that for you now?
Well, it's funny. When I was diagnosed with cancer, there was something else that was going on with me too. I must have had a virus or something, uh, because I remember my poop was green. I mean, almost like shamrock green. And I'm thinking, what's going on to me? And I just knew I was out the door. I thought, I'm a goner. I remember distinctly. And I called up my son. I started planning my own memorial service. I said, now listen, these are the stories I want you to tell because I want everybody to have a good time. I want it to be a party. I want there to be lots of laughs. And my son is like, okay, okay, yeah, okay, mom. Sure, I can do that for you. Um, he wasn't buying it, but he also knew that if he didn't do exactly what I told him to do, I would come back and haunt
Want
him.
him? Oh, absolutely.
And I think once I faced that, and I kind of thought, oh, well, I remember thinking, because it was a weekend that whatever virus went through me, and then by Monday I was better, and I thought, oh hell, I'm going to fight this. I'm not going to die. Let's forget about that stuff. We're moving right along. But that weekend, I was very introspective and I started taking stock of my life. And I looked at the decisions that I made and I thought, I have disappointments of things that didn't work out the way I had hoped for, but I don't have any regrets. And it was a good feeling to know that I went for it. I followed my passions. I followed my dreams. I looked at my career. I was happy with what I've done. I was looked at my son. I was happy with him. I have wonderful, wonderful friends. I think that's what's really important as you get older. I have a great community of friends in Los Angeles, in Chicago, and New York. And we talk about everything together. We share things together, the good and the bad. And I think and when I think about it, their age in range from 40 something to 80 something.
That's beautiful because you have an intergenerational network. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's, especially as you get older, you want to have younger friends to make sure that you have a steady supply. Um, because as Elizabeth Kubler-Ross says in her book on death and dying, the secret to a good aging is learning how to handle loss. And that comes with the territory. You lose your hearing, you lose your eyesight, there are different things, you lose some of your energy. There are things that you lose that you accept, snap, there's that A, that acceptance, that you learn to accept, and you learn to, another A, accommodate. You go like, oh, well, I can't do that anymore, but I can do this. And the thing about it is that when you look at the things that you have to let go of, you can look towards the things that are coming towards you that are positive. It really is a mindset. It's that, is the glass half empty or half full?
Your optimism is amazing. Mariann, what's next on the agenda for you?
Well, there is the workshop that I'm doing with you on September the 14th in Chicago. I am doing a streaming soap opera called The Bay, and I'm in my third season. The show is in its 10th season. I joined them in season 8, so I'm now going into my 10th season. It's a very fun, crazy kind of character. I have been working for this family that has an evil twin. My granddaughter, who was given up for adoption, is married to to the good twin, and there's all this kind of drama that happens between the two families, and it's so much fun. It's fun to play. So I
Where is
have
it?
that.
What's streaming? What channel is it streaming on?
It's on, it's on, it's it's an independent, so they license it to different
Oh,
platforms.
okay. Okay.
So I just Google the Bay, and it's not, there's a Bay in London, but it's not that one. It's the Bay that's here in the United States. And I think it's on Peacock, it's been on Amazon Prime, Tubi, a bunch of the Pop Star, it's been on a bunch of different platforms. And it's a bunch of older soap opera stars like Ron Moss and who else is on there? A Martinez, and then these beautiful young people. Uh, Karuchi Tran plays my granddaughter. I mean, it's uh it's a cute show. It keeps me out of trouble. I was gonna say it keeps me out of trouble. Maybe it gets me in trouble. I'm not sure. But it I get in trouble on the show. It keeps me out of trouble in my real life.
Mhm. That's absolutely amazing. So thrilled for you. And last but not least, I think you've said it 1,000 times over in the show today, but what do you specifically like about getting older?
Specifically,
I know
that
there's a million things, but yeah.
that I'm still here. I am curious by nature. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. I want to know how it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, realistically, when we go, we're going to go in the middle of the book. But until then, I'm just going to keep turning those pages, turning those pages.
Good for you. Mariann, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been so delightful, and there's
It's
so
over already?
it's over already. Mariann Aalda, actress, comic, activist, hypnotherapist, and to me, an all-around shining role model for all of us that want to embrace our age. You can contact Mariann Aalda at all the usual places: Facebook, Insta, website, and LinkedIn. And please, we are having a It's Okay to Be Old Chicago, where Mariann and I will be speaking on September 14th. It's a Sunday from 1 to 4 at the Altar Space in
Logan Square.
North yeah, Logan Square in Chicago. And again, thank you again so much, Mariann. And I want to thank all of you who are listening to It's Okay to Be Old. Please tune in again for our engaging discussions on all things aging well. And for feedback and topic requests, you can contact me at www.patriciagreenberg.com. Again, Mariann, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you for having me.